guys, and welcome back to Change Wired podcast for change leaders, change agents, people who are not satisfied with status quo and committed to making a difference in your own life, difference in the world, difference in the lives of others, committed to growth, personal, professional, growth in the world, development, and just improving 1%, 2%, whatever that percent is every day. Just living life to the fullest and reaching out for something more that is already out there. My name is Angela Sharina. I'm your host. I'm your executive transitional coach 360. And because of my certifications and interest in health and vitality, mindset and performance, or what I call strategic systems for meaningful work, because of all my curiosity, different certifications, and reading and talking to people in change, experts, practitioners in the field, on this podcast, I'm also bringing you tools for change, tools for growth, for some self-improvement in all these different areas, from strategy, personal, professional, to mindset or your operating system for life, to your body, your health, your resilience, that charge that drives you through life. Your body is your vehicle through life, quite literally, right? Maybe at some point in the future that won't be the case, but it is the case for now. Today, guys, we are talking about standing out. By the end of this podcast, and this podcast is going to be super short, but super empowering. So the power of this podcast, guys, is in the practice that I'm going to give you at the end of this podcast. 5 questions to answer, but you got to sit down, take a journal out, take your old pen and paper out and write it. Write about what the questions will prompt you for to ultimately answer this question. What's different about you? We live in a world where we're super connected, and it seems like, what can be created is already created, is already done. Like everything you want is already out there. And maybe you can't Google it yet, but it's probably in the process of being created. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I find it overwhelming. Like, how do I differentiate myself? There are so many coaches and consultants in change leadership and change management and in transformation and executive coaching and whatever you call it. There's probably quite a few people calling themselves exactly the same thing. So what do you actually do to differentiate yourself? Is there something unique about you? Well, the good news is, from my experience and other people's experiences and all the data that I consume in form of books, podcasts, and articles, yes, there is something unique about you. And your uniqueness is, yes, you have some of your genes are unique, but more importantly, your experiences, this beautiful mix of ingredients that I'm going to call you experiences that are put together in your life circumstances. Your life path is your uniqueness. It's like having 2 cups to drink your coffee from, but one cup is, made in Italy and maybe in a factory, maybe by some artisan, some artist. And then you have another cup that is made somewhere in Japan. And I think they call it kaisoge or something like that, when they break the cup and then they put it together with this beautiful lacquer, and it's broken, but it's put together in such a beautiful way. But there is always some uniqueness, and we choose the thing that feels like that's what we need. That is uniquely ours. And because of that, because of this life journey of a cup or your life journey, you are very unique. But the tricky part is we need to learn. First, we need to figure it out and consistently get back to this notion of, or this question, this reflection. What makes me me at this stage of my life, and how can I communicate it to, whether that's to the market, in the workplace, career, or maybe business? You're also an entrepreneur. How do I communicate that? Or also as a person, how do I communicate that to my friends, to my potential or actual life partners? What makes me me? How do I communicate it clearly so the right things, people, circumstances are attracted to me, and the rest just, goes somewhere else. In Russian language, there is a word, ruchka, and the word is exactly the same for two different things: a pen to write with, like in your journal, and a door handle to open the door with. The same exact word. The only difference is context. Kind of like the same in English: go live, to start something, launch something, show up, go online and, do something, or wind blows into your face, or wind something around your finger. The same word sounds, well, actually in English doesn't sound the same, but the same word. And when you read it, the only difference is context. And then you read about two completely different worlds. Yesterday, I had a chat with another coach / consultant, and she works for the company that my client founded. And I was curious, why doesn't my client work with her? And I was always curious to talk to her. And then we talked yesterday. And as it turns out, she does, for my client's company, work with teams, but very specific work on how to manage better, how to lead better in a job context, in a company's context, how to give a feedback that is effective to get the job done. She does people development, leadership development, but in a different way. A unique, great, solid way. And she uses different schools and different tools. And the way is amazing. It works, but it's so not what I do. And my client is actually looking for addition to his coaching team for his company. And he thought of me because the way we do things is completely different. And because he personally worked with me for a couple of years now, he realized that, Angela has this, and we actually need to add this to make this team performance complete. And when I talked to this lady, this coach, I'm like, that is so amazing. You do such amazing things. And that is so not what I do. And that is so amazing. We call each other the same exact words. We can even say the same exact phrase. I worked as a coach consultant in people development or people transformation, and they can mean completely different things. And so why am I talking about this to you? Well, maybe you guessed already, because you can call yourself the same exact thing, whether that's in your career, whether that's in your business, whether that's in your personal life. You can be, an athlete or this or that, a leader, change agent, whatever that is. You can call yourself the same exact thing and be a completely different cup of tea. And the purpose, I think, the focus, what we all need to get really good at is communicating that difference. Not just what we call ourselves, but how we do things. And so the questions at the end of this podcast will help you to figure that out. What's uniquely you that you need to communicate to the market? Stay hydrated, by the way, guys. I just got a sip of water. So what it is uniquely you, how you do things that you need to communicate in order to differentiate yourself for yourself, so you can focus instead of trying to do everything. You can actually focus your studies, your time, your personal, your professional development, so you can actually focus. So differentiate yourself for yourself first, so you can again become that First of all, then it's going to be so much easier to prioritize your time. Like yesterday, I was talking to this lady. I'm like, so you do this and I do it completely different way. And that made me realize, I made a note to myself, I need to focus on studying this more, not what she does. And then when I need someone like her in any of my projects, I could just call her and she's going to be super awesome at what she does. So first you need to communicate that to yourself. You need to clarify it to yourself to create more time, more space to get really, really good at what you do, like your core skill set, and you can let go of the rest instead of being overwhelmed, like trying to do it all. No, even with the eye, you're not going to be able to do it all. No, anyone will care if you're going to be exactly the same, a little bit of this and that. Like, don't try to be generic white label cup coming from a factory that has literally no differentiation. Nobody wants that. Well, maybe somebody needs that, but, they can also go for many countless options. So don't be that white cup with no branding on it. So you need to differentiate that for yourself to prioritize, to focus, and to spend your time wisely. But then that will create the differentiation for the world. So your ideal clients, partners, friends can find you, and they will then stay with you because they need exactly you for that specific purpose. And so the world will get attracted to you when the world, meaning other people, whether that's your customers or, just people you want to spend time with, the people will be attracted to you and will still stay with you for that specific purpose. So these two purposes, differentiated for yourself and for the world to find you, that's what will allow you to stand out in a noisy world, not by being loud and trying to be everywhere for everyone, but by speaking clearly about what it is you are, how you do things, and what it is you are not. And in the world, again, with limitless options where everything and everyone is connected, it's going to be easier than ever to find the unique thing, and it's going to be easier than ever to get lost in all the limitless options if you are exactly as everyone else. So everyone else will find something else. Now, 5 questions. But before we jump into 5 questions, I'm introducing a new practice recommended by friends in podcasting. Please do share this podcast with another person, with someone who might feel overwhelmed. Like, there are so many things to do. I don't know what to do. And I'm already tired and overwhelmed. And there is, there's a whole bunch of other things and options and everyone does what I do. Like, if you also know another person, maybe you have a friend that you'd like to get more specific, focused with, keep each other accountable, to differentiate your businesses, your career, your value proposition, right? So share this podcast episode with that person and do the exercise together. Do this 5 questions together. Keep each other accountable. Maybe get on Zoom, and if you are in different parts of the world or too far from each other, and go through these 5 questions together and then discuss it. And you won't believe how effective this kind of learning and improvement and self-development is going to be. So share this podcast. And also, please do rate, review this podcast on Spotify, on Stitcher, on Podcast Addict, on iTunes, anywhere where you find this podcast. That helps us to reach more people, guys. It means a world to me. Let's create a better world, one pair of ears at a time. And now we are getting into our questions. Questions will help you differentiate yourself. Questions that will help you to find your edge, guys. So again, in a noisy world, people who need to find you will find you and will spend time finding you. And algorithm actually will work for that purpose better and better and better. Number 1. So stop this recording, take a piece of paper and pen that can mean the writing pen or the one that opened doors, right? And get to writing. After each question, pause for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes, and just do the writing. What result do you help others achieve that they deeply care about? Not just what you do, but what changes because of you, guys. It's very important, not just what you do. So the question number 1, what result do you help others achieve that they deeply care about? Not just what you do, but what changes for people because of you. So the focus here is result that you deliver to people, your value that you deliver to people. So pause, do the writing for 3 to 5 minutes. Then come back. The second question, what do you do differently from others in your field? Is it your process, your pace, your lens? What makes you, you? Like, what do you do differently? Talk to other people in your field. That's where it's so important. I talked to this lady and I'm like, this is not how I do things. And that may help me reflect. Like, she does the same thing on paper, but in such a completely different way. So think also where you can set up calls. The world is beautiful these days. You can connect on LinkedIn or whatever social media, set up a call on WhatsApp or Zoom or Teams, whatever platform and software you use, and just chat with other people about the same profession. And that will help you to figure out what's actually unique about you. We find our edge by reflecting on what others do and how we are different. So in conversations, it's so much easier to see that, guys. So what do you do differently from others in your field? Stop for 3 to 5 minutes and write. Number 3, what do you always notice that others tend to miss? The overlooked detail or the part of the solution that nobody sees, nobody seems to see or care about. It's probably your secret sauce, guys. Think about pasta, like this simple dish, pasta, the same pasta. People have been eating it for decades and centuries probably. And the secret is in the sauce. A restaurant can literally have tons of pasta, but because of the sauce, it's all different. So what's your sauce? What's your secret sauce? And maybe don't make it so secret and actually speak about the sauce, not the pasta, which is the same. So what do you always notice that others tend to miss about this problem, this solution, about the world? What do you tend to notice? For you, it's a big deal. For me, it's behavior change, designing for behavior change. And not just designing for behavior change, but for human motivation. And so that's a very unique part about secret sauce and how I apply to business transformation, digital transformation, and people transformation. Like, you cannot transform people, make people more resilient or more confident if you don't design for behavior change, for them to actually change their habits. So what do you always notice that others tend to miss? Pause, 3 to 5 minutes, write. Then continue. Question number 4, if someone shadowed you or followed you for a day, what would surprise them? Like something that feels normal to you, like that is your skin, but it is so rare or unusual to others. If someone again followed you for a day, what would surprise them? Again, pause and then rate and then continue. Question number 5, the last one. What do people come back to you for again and again and again? Patterns of proof. Look at what sticks, guys. So what do people come back to you again and again and again? For me personally, it's that insight. It actually considered to be my strengths in all the tasks. So that insight, that wisdom that people tend to overlook. Another one is accountability and making people actually do what they know they should do, not by telling them what to do, but eliciting, getting out of them their own motivations and their drive to become something bigger, something better. So those are a few things that people come back to me for. And also, to be honest, creating safe space. Somehow I did figure out how to help people feel vulnerable and reflective and not defensive, but instead opening up and figuring out, exploring things that they're not sure of, those vulnerable, icky moments. So there's a few things that people come back to me for and stay with me for years, growing and growing and growing and developing. Growth never stops. So 5 questions. So let me repeat, but before I repeat, It's the question number 5. What do people come back to you for again and again and again? Figure it out. Ask people. Write about it. Asking people is better. So 5 questions that will help you to find your edge and distinguish yourself, separate yourself from all the rest of the world in a noisy world where everyone is connected and every option is going to be available to everyone. How are you going to stand out? And also it's important because how are you going to prioritize your time to develop yourself, to grow? How? When you know what your edge is, that's going to filter out all the limitless choices. You know, in the world of limitless choice, I always say people who will win are people who have a filter how to actually make good choices in this world. And by differentiating yourself, you help others to make choices easier and faster. And also by creating that differentiator for yourself, you can prioritize your time better and then choose between countless of options and courses to develop yourself in that unique snowflake that everyone will seek out. So 5 questions. What results do you help others achieve that they deeply care about? Number 2, what do you do differently from others in your field? Number 3, what do you always notice that others tend to miss? Number 4, if someone shadowed you, followed you for a day, what would surprise them? And number 5, what do people come back to you for again and again and again? So again, do the writing, do the exploration. You'll be surprised what you will find sometimes, as I was when I found my unique edge answering these questions. Get curious, guys. Get specific. Most importantly, get focused, because if you don't, the world won't either, and you'll be lost amidst countless of options. Speak from that place, that focused, specific place. And I guess the last but not least, the last question, what pen are you? The one that we write with, or the one that opens the doors? A very important question in this century where everything and everyone is connected and options are indeed limitless. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Hope this is a very useful podcast episode, a mini workshop. Give me feedback. There is a place, my email and probably a text box somewhere in the show notes to send me a direct message. But thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And till next time, keep growing.